with the first pick, we took Arashi Kiba, 13th overall. Kiba is an interesting pitcher because he has that original fastball, which is kind of gross and like very heavy. Got heaviness in there. He's got iron ball, so very tough to take him deep. And he's got B stamina, and also he's a pretty good hitter, I would say. So BB hitting. Can slide into our DH spot with clutch A hitting as well. Also the slugger ability. Very serviceable at DH. So it's pretty nice to get that roll compression in that first pick of pitcher and DH. Plus, just having that original fastball is going to be good stamp.
I mean, just based on what was happening in the draft, I was worried you weren't going to be able to get him. But you had those two picks right ahead of you, Kiyomoto and Data, where Kiva just slid right to you. What's tough is
Good.
based on your pitching plan, he's going six, which I think he's going to be pretty untouchable for the six. Then you got to get through the last three with the pen.
Great pick there. Our next pick was Iwayo Saga. Talked about getting a top outfielder early on, and we got basically our pick of the litter there. Besides Toy's in a tier of his own, but I thought we had the next tier down as Saga and Victor, and we ended up going with Saga over Victor. Basically A stats across the board. Pretty good hitting, pretty good fielding. The downside of Saga over Victor is we lose out on that Intimidator ability, the Menace ability, so we can't drain stamina as well, but it's just a little bit of a stat-wise better player than Victor overall.
Saga is a pretty 5-tool player. He can do pretty much everything. We'll probably patrol center field and expect him to hit pretty well as well.
I may or may not have him in right field right now, but that's okay.
Sweet.
All right, next up we had Garcia, able to get another top outfielder on our second pick. Great, because there are not a lot of good outfielders, so we're getting them before the demand gets too high. Garcia, a little bit faster than Saga, so might play center field, might play right, who knows. Got a little bit of a weaker arm. But he's honestly a slightly better hitter, I would say. 87 contact, 82 nope, I'm looking at run speed. 75 contact, 87 power, so a little bit more power. Got the pull hitter ability, got clutch and stealing. Overall, another top outfielder in a position where there's going to be a steep cliff coming up.
It's a little tough on that throwing act. It seems like it's been a lot of leagues, other than obviously, God Squad, hyper offense, where you've kind of had that one corner outfielder with the doodle arm, and the ball seems to find them with the runner coming around third quite often.
All right, with our next pick, we take Yamino. He's got 159 kilometers per hour, one of those faster pitchers available. A lot of stamina, 89 stamina. Hopefully he can get through 6 innings super easily, but could he go 9? We'll see. Maybe we'll end up using him as like a 9-inning pitcher type of guy. Otherwise, too, we talked about Kiba being a DH option. We also have Yamino kind of as the other DH option while Kiba's pitching, perhaps, so we don't even have to waste the pitcher spot as a hitting pitcher. Got C contact, but 85 power. He's got Intimidator too, so that'll be nice having that in the lineup. And otherwise, not like the best pitch mix. He has a changeup that doesn't really do anything. You have to use that pretty sparingly, but does have that like a little original special pitch sinker, which isn't great. But I think people sleep on Yamino as a.
I think it would be particularly effective as a DH against those teams that are trying to throw starters all 9, because he has the menace ability on his hitting side.
Yeah, I think we kind of talk about this later, but or in other videos, our team does have only one other Intimidator hitter. So now with him in the lineup, that does at least give us another option. So try to drain some stamina a little bit better. All right, our next picks was Fumito Data. He's one of the top catchers available. We had him as our 3rd-rated catcher on our board. He's got that gold trash talk ability, aka Heckler. He's got B catcher, so help our stamina out at the pitcher level. He's also got average hitter, and contact hitter, and sprayer as well, so can hit well with power to all fields. Just really good abilities on Data. The stats are not all there, but he does have B contact, which is pretty good. Again, like not the best arm either as a catcher, but like serviceable. 74 fielding, 68 throwing. And then the sneaky thing about Data, many might not know, but he does throw 144 B stamina, control, high C control, and like some okay breaking balls and some okay pitching abilities too. So a lot of teams are gonna only have 7 pitchers. We actually have 8. He's a sneaky pitcher behind the scenes, so that should help us out when we're in a jam, stamina wise, rest wise, which probably is gonna happen at some point during the season.
Yep, I don't know that he's a particular offensive threat there, but he's pretty good behind the plate, and he also has the heckler ability. So it's going to be upsetting the other team's batters a little bit too.
I was actually looking back at the IRL, our first draft league that we did. I had Fumito Data on the team, and during the regular season, he hit over 300. It was pretty funny. He was like our 8 hitter and just somehow kept getting on base. And then he kind of stunk in the playoffs, but we won't talk about that. Moving on, we have Fukuya. The lineup needed some pop. The hitters were going quick, and we took Fukuya. He's got S power. I think he might be the lone returner to the Lost City Monarchs. He was on the team last season, and he had I think like 7 homers or 5 homers or something. A lot of big moments on the team for sure. He does have Intimidator, as we kind of talked about before. He also has Slugger and Sprayer, so just a great power hitter to have. I think he's going to eat this season because there's going to be a lot of pitchers that are pretty crappy. So hopefully Fukuya can make them pay and lead the league in homers. We'll see. I don't know. Could happen.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just based on you were a big Kiyomoto guy. I always seem to have this guy. It always kind of came across to me like he was like a downgraded version of Kiyomoto, but I wouldn't be surprised based on opportunities given to him if he has more homers than Kiyomoto this season.
Next up, we had Yakiman 2. Honestly, at this point in the draft, was like a tier above every other player I thought available. I had no idea how he just kept sliding down because this guy is freaking gross. I don't know if anyone else has really faced him that much when there's a lot of these other top players, but that level 5 special pitch sinker or whatever is just disgusting. Like, you spam that on the righties, and they can't do anything. It just breaks into the zone at the last second from the outside of the batter's box. Just gross. Uh, and that's pretty much it with this guy. Like, that's all you have to do. You're literally spamming that pitch, and no one can really make you pay.
Yep, that's the hyper offense reliever of the year right there. He will be throwing one pitch, and that is it.
And that one pitch is gross. All right, Yakiman 5, our next pick, another Yakiman. We ended up taking 3 of them, but not number 3, just 1, 2, and 5. Here's 5. We took a shortstop here. Not the best abilities, but like overall, just a serviceable shortstop there. 78 fielding is pretty solid. Does have pretty good contact and 80 contact, and then just a lot of D's out there. Rally ability, sprayer, clutch. So overall, not too bad. Able to play both shortstop and second base pretty well, and gives us some flexibility in the infield there.
Yeah, I need to be getting to a lot of those bloopers. I think you know, no lock on. I think there's going to be a lot of contact swing bloopers up the middle. So I think they're going to be getting a lot of action.
All I will say is I hope he's not the cutoff man for Garcia too often.
Got the Noodle Arm team. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Our next pick we took was Iseki, another high contact player, 88 contact. And again, one of those players I was kind of surprised to see there, but honestly, his second base was so deep that I can see why he was still on the board. And we were able to snap him up here to kind of fill out our starting lineup for the most part. Pretty good fielding. Does have Glover as well. Also can kind of be playing catcher, so if we ever have to throw Data, he can slide into that catcher spot. Not the best arm, again, just 65, but he's got that high contact. Maybe if he hits well enough, he can see himself at the top of the lineup with that high contact, but he is pretty slow, so not the best as far as like trying to get him around the bases. We'll see how he goes. We'll probably start the lineup at the bottom of the order, and then if he hits well, he'll move up.
I think he's going to be a big plus on defense. I think against some of the impressive fastball pitchers, he's going to struggle and hit a lot of bloops up in the infield. And then he might have a little more success against some of the back end of the rotation guys and relievers.
At that point in the draft, they can only be good at one or two things. Hitting for power certainly not one.
All right, our next pick was Fukami. At this point in the draft, you know what, we're just doing that Control F Tyrant, and there it is. Fukami with that Tyrant ability. Hopefully he comes in for that 1 inning, gets the job done, and gets the hell out of the game because he does not have that much good stuff, but he does have Tyrant. So 146 is serviceable, not too fast, so not great. And again, B stamina is going to be more than enough for his role that he should be having. Again, a low control, not the best, and then not great breaking balls, but does have Iron Ball, does have Tyrant. Pair those two abilities, and good things are going to happen.
Just doesn't have that grit. So get them in for the 1 inning. Hope it goes well. Get him out.
He's gonna be a good link between the starter and Yakuman too.
All right, our next pick here was that's not the right Onishi. We got Onishi, no goggles. Again, most people have faced Onishi in like success mode or something during the Power Pro's history of the game, but on Andromeda High, he throws 151. He's got 85 stamina. Again, a high stamina guy, but he's got terrible control, F control, and then a bunch of level 4 breaking balls just to keep people honest. He's not the best abilities and like not a great pitcher, but as far as like getting someone that can go at least 6 innings, I thought that this was a pretty good spot to get Onishi in the draft. Other Onishi went much higher, and he's got like a one better ability there, like gold fastball. This one doesn't have that, but good to get that someone that can go at least 6 innings deep at this point in the draft with good velocity and okay breaking balls, I thought.
Some of the fielding stats, and you do like when your pitcher has at least a C, so they can actually make a play in the field.
Yeah, we're at that point in the draft when we're getting jazzed up about the C fielding for the pitcher.
I think as long as you can get the 2-tap down for him, he's a pretty solid number 3 starter in the rotation.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up we have Arima. Just another one of those like slightly troublesome pitchers from Success and things like that. This is basically a junk baller pitcher to give our team a different look on the out of the pen. Again, another high stamina guy, 85 stamina. Not too worried about that because I don't see him throwing more than an inning or two at a time. But as a emergency starter, maybe he could get the job done. Does have a level 6 slow curve, level 5 palm ball. It's a couple decent abilities too, and but he is slow as balls, so you don't want to leave him out too long because people are gonna start sitting back on certain pitches and taking advantage.
You do think that if you're going to be able to alternate him with, fast starter, throw him for an inning, go back to another speed option. That change of pace might throw some people off.
Yep. For an inning, he'll get it done. For 6 innings, I don't know.
Next up, we have Yakuman 1, our 7th pitcher of the team. Finally, we're done with the bullpen. Yakuman 1 does have good control at 75, does have a level 6 original special pitch, and another kind of junk baller, but this is again our last pitcher. Hopefully we're not using Yakuman 1 too much, but honestly I'm sorry, Yakuman 1. Yakuman 1 is a returner as well to the Lost City Monarchs. We had her on the team last season along with Fukuya, and Yakuman 1 honestly was better than expected. That was kind of our we are going to lose this game pitcher, good luck, but we need to reset our starting pitchers, and Yakuman 1 was surprisingly decent, so we'll see. That original sinker is pretty good, and then you got the curveball just kind of forcing people to sit back and say, is this going to be a strike or not? Hopefully get some weak contact.
I think 7th person in the pen compared to a lot of the other teams. Pretty solid player.
All right, next up we have Nubis, first base / outfielder. If we are playing Nubis in the outfield, it's going to be a tough time out there, but hopefully they're not hitting it to left field. Nubis has 91 power, does have that slugger ability, only 40 contact, so not too good. But I think versus some of these slow pitchers or bad breaking ball pitchers, he's actually going to be pretty decent. You can have that time to line up that PCI a little bit and do some damage.
Dingers.
All right, let's get the predictions. How many dingers is Nubis going to hit this season?
4.
4? Yeah.
I'll go 5.
4 and 5.
If they're getting regular playing time as corner outfielder, give them 5.
Well, I'm going to ask that same question for our next pick here. We got Nato with the armor. Actually, a little bit, honestly, a better hitter, but just even slower out there. Probably going to actually start at first base over Nubis. Nubis is more of a flexibility, oh shit, what if I have to play this person in the outfield? But Nato armor stayed out there. Another slugger ability, clutch B. Does have that morale ability, which is nice too. But like basically +5 contact, and then I think +4 power from what we just saw. So I'll ask the same question: how many homers is NATO Armor playing? And I will say that NATO is probably going to be the starting first baseman over Nubis. I would say most of the time, pending mood, of course.
I will say 5.
I will say I'm still traumatized because I used NATO's character appearance for my DH steal, and he was the worst hitter in the entire 450 star tournament. So I'm gonna say 1.
I'm gonna call this person Night Night, even though it's Night Nighto, but or Night Nighto sounds good. Night Nighto. All right, we got Amori up next. So Amori was honestly almost a panic pick once the shortstop run went. I'm in love with some nice, good fielding at shortstop. Got 82 fielding, got the Glover ability. Not the best RMC, 63, and then obviously can't hit for shit. But very solid in the field with that magician ability slash Glover, whatever you want to call it, and a high fielding rating. So we have the defensive replacement out there in the outfield too if we need to with the Mori now. Doesn't play outfield too well, but obviously it's going to be much better than Nubis or Naito, which is what we really have for that corner outfield spot so far.
Shortstop is definitely one of those positions where I will sacrifice hitting to have a viable defensive option.
All right, our next pick we had Nijima, the young one, young Niji, as someone call her. Another like kind of we don't have an outfielder that can play somewhat decently. So here we go. It's probably going to be a platoon of Nijima and Nubis out there and left. I would say probably Nijima is going to get the more of the playing time, unless I'm very comfortable starting Nubis whenever I'm facing a very crappy pitcher, because I think he's going to make them pay. But Nijima might play a little bit more just because they're a little bit more well-rounded, give us a better defensive look out there. Nothing worse than a shitty blooper being the reason why you lose. But nothing really great about Nijima at this point. Many outfielders have been taken at this point, but just all around C's and D's. Honestly, looks like the type of player that you'd find on the Oregon Ducks deuce team.
She's a player that's certainly not going to lose you a game. She's probably not going to win you a game, but she's not going to lose you a game.
Agreed. And with our next pick, we took some more outfield speed. Ishino really can't do anything other than run. So we got a pinch runner here, and we got someone that could be a defensive replacement. Obviously, only E fielding, which isn't good. But kind of one of the big things with outfielders is just that run speed, because they got to get to the ball. So that fielding gives you a good jump, but the run speed will help you get to there. So Ishino could be a defensive replacement there, along with Nijima, if Nubis is getting the start. Also, we got that pinch runner again, as we said.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to add other than fast.
Fast.
Somewhat fast.
Oh, yeah, that's generous. Somewhat fast. Fast-ish.
That's what's sad. It's not even that fast. It's only B speed, but at this point in the draft, it's like, good enough.
And with the final pick of the Lost City Monarchs team, we got Gonzo Igarashi. Speaking of Gonzo, how many home runs is this guy got in a hit? I'm going to guess 0, but if he gets 1, good for him. He's got 80 power, doesn't even have any like good abilities other than rally, and he's got shit contact, and he's got shit fielding, so like he can never even play. But at this point in the draft, no one's going to be useful, so
Nope, I think this is a pinch hitter that you immediately hope you have an effective replacement for.
Yeah, I think he's a 0. I don't think he's going to play too much.